Welcome back, friend. Last time we learned how Darwin's idea of natural selection helped people understand how life changes. Now, thinkers like Asa Gray tried to keep science and faith in the conversation. But we also learned something important. Ideas can grow and spread differently depending on who picks them up. Today, we'll move into a new time, the Gilded Age, filled with factories, fortunes, fierce debates about who deserved success.
Mr. Brewer, on Sagapalog, our factories only make things like rainbow pudding and anti-gravity socks. What did humans make in this Gilded Age?
Well, Snorkel Thump, humans made steel, oil, railroads, and a very, very large amounts of money. Some people became richer than anyone in the world has ever seen, and many believe their success wasn't just luck, but a sign of nature's approval. Last time we talked about Herbert Spencer, who believed evolution rewarded the most efficient. He argued embryos evolved using the least cost, trimming away the superfluous steps. Some Americans took this idea and said, if nature rewards efficient creatures, maybe it rewards efficient people too. This belief became incredibly powerful. Let's meet two of the biggest names of the Gilded Age, Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller. They didn't call themselves social Darwinists, but they believed in following natural law. Carnegie, and he believed inequality was progress. In the Gospel of Wealth in 1889, Carnegie would argue that civilization improves when wealth concentrates in the hands of the most capable. It ensures the survival of the fittest in every department, and he believed that the gap between the rich and the poor was not only natural but necessary, saying that the law of competition is essential for the future progress of the race. Now, Rockefeller, he believed in success as divine selection. Rockefeller blended evolution with religion, similar to our friend Asa Gray. The growth of large businesses is merely survival of the fittest, a law of nature and a law of God, is what he would say. To him, the rise of giant corporation wasn't greed or accident, it was the nature of God pointing in the same direction.
So, if someone got super rich, humans thought it meant nature liked them?
That's exactly what they believed. William Graham Sumner, perhaps the loudest intellectual voice of the era, argued that helping poor was not generosity, it was interference. He wrote that people labeled poor and weak were often negligent, shiftless, insufficient, silly, and imprudent, who should not be fastened upon the industrious and prudent. He even defended the wealthy with evolutionary logic. A great capitalist obtains great rewards. They ought to do so. To Sumner, social inequality wasn't a moral problem. It was nature performing its sorting process. But many workers didn't see inequality as natural. They saw dangerous factories, low wages, long hours, child labor, and entire communities trapped in poverty. Workers formed unions, demanding safety and fairness. Reformers argued that human suffering was not a biological necessity, but industrial leaders and their supporters insisted these reforms interfered with the struggle for existence, disturbing natural competitive order of society.
So, both sides thought they were following nature.
Exactly. And that's what made the Gilded Age so turbulent. A clash over what nature meant and who got to define it. Here, follow me to end this lesson.
Hello, friend. We're at the section of our day where we review today's lesson. Let's start with episode 2's thesis. In the Gilded Age, social Darwinism made an extreme economic inequality seem natural and even scientific result. This belief allowed industrial leaders and their supporters to argue that wealth, power, and corporate dominance showed superior fitness. Meanwhile, poverty, labor unrest, and calls for reform were regarded as disruption to nature's laws.
Sounds like people took evolution and stretched it to fit whatever they wanted it to.
That's a wise way to put it, friend. Well, and next time, we'll see what happens when these same ideas are used to decide who belongs in a country and who doesn't. Episode 3 will explore race, immigration, and the rise of eugenics, a chapter where evolutionary language was used to shape laws, family, and entire communities. Until then, remember, every idea grows best when handled with care. Goodbye, everyone.